The Big Burnsville Jail really is kind of a, it's really actually kind of a funny story in a way, to the sense that the lyric is, it's a fellow that, you know, that he's actually in a courtroom for something else that he did. And they don't realize actually the crime that he had done. They've actually captured the fellow. They just don't know they've got him. And you know, his intentions are, they're not going to hold him. You know, the Big Burnsville Jail, it just isn't going to hold him at all. In fact, you know, if they don't think I can pick a lock, they don't know me well. You know, and I won't do 1129 in the Big Burnsville Jail. I'm, you know, you pick me up for breaking and entering. And as a matter of fact, I'm the finest man that ever broke and entered. But anyway, nonetheless, it's not, you're not going to keep me in here. There's not a lock I can't pick. I'll get out of here. In fact, there's not a Mississippi bloodhound that'll ever pick up my trail. And I won't do 1129 in the Big Burnsville Jail. But what's funny about it, when I was going through Burnsville, Mississippi on my way home, I just started humming that around, and I got to thinking, you know, that said I was the meanest man to ever break and enter at the Big Burnsville Jail. I didn't have a clue in the world there was a jail in Burnsville, only to find out that actually that's where the county jail's at, is in Burnsville, Mississippi. Now, I didn't know that, or, you know, it may have changed, which I'm glad I didn't, because it probably would have changed all of it. Thom Case and if folks remember Bailey and the Boys, of course there's a little bit of the past. When I was with Shenandoah, we done shows with them. Michael Bonagura and Thom Case wrote that with me. Anyway, it's the Big Burnsville Jail, and it's a pretty snappy little prison number. You know, sometimes we just take life just too hard. You know, things ain't everything they could be, because we're so serious about the moment that we forget to live. You know, we tend to want to put things aside, and we tend to put things off that actually could be an absolutely wonderful way of going through life. And this song, A Little More Sawdust on the Floor, literally explains that. John Fountain and myself had written this, and it's one of those kind of songs that says, look, stop what you're doing, you know, get your boots out of the hall, put on your getting britches. Sweetie, we're going dancing, forget about the housework, forget about the bills, forget about the kids, it's me and you. We going where they sling sawdust on the floor, and we're gonna kick up our heels a little bit, and we're gonna live life a little, and that's what A Little More Sawdust on the Floor. That's exactly what it says. You know, all of us from time to time have people that come in and come out of our lives, and nothing is better than having some stability of realizing that you know that who you have is literally somebody that you've always longed for. You know, if you're fortunate enough to have that one, then you're a lucky man. You're a very lucky man. And to realize that some of the ways that you felt, or some of the things that you felt, you'd literally never felt them before, but then when you find that one, because there's only, you know, there's only you. There's just only you. You're the only one that makes me feel that way. And that's what the song's about. Now, the approach on it, instrumentally and vocally, was really kind of an Osborne brother approach. You know, Bobby and Sonny were always so great about taking some of those old country classics that Felice and Boodle O'Brien had written, and vocally they could literally just rip one end and out the other of something that they wanted to end it, and then Sonny's banjo worked. It made it, you know, made it so nice to listen to, and made the melody so. But therefore, with this being as far into bluegrass as we wanted to get, you really can't do that without doing some Osborne Brother flavored stuff. John Fountain and I wrote this as well too, and that was really the intention that we had while writing it, was to structure it like an Osborne Brother tune. Hurt me all the time. It's, you know, when you hear something like that, you would think, you know, don't ever do that again. You know, look, that's enough. I don't want you to do that to me anymore. That, you know, that hurts. It hurt me all the time. You know, or either you always think that that's all you ever do. You just hurt me all the time. But actually, it's the complete opposite of it. You know, it's a good up-tempo driving, grassy number that kind of lays good for the rest of the whole concept of the back 40. And therefore, you know, trying to entertain from top to bottom of the album, it's one of those kind of songs that kind of comes to meter. And it being just as opposite, instead of saying that, you know, you've hurt me all the time, it's, you know, the guy saying, look, you know, if this is what everybody's saying that you're doing to me, don't stop. I'm enjoying this, you know. And everybody else is mistaking it, but I'm not. I know exactly what it is. You're in love with me and you love me, and they don't see that. So, you know, if they want to claim, you know, you're hurting me, well, you just keep right on. Just hurt me all the time if you want to. You notice how I said if you want to? That's country. Mountain Love, I thought, was really kind of the best way to end the album as far as a sequencing. And the reason why it is because, you know, when you leave the stage, what you want to do is you want to leave the stage and leave them as fired up, and hopefully, through working it emotionally, you know, trying to entertain them, you know, you worked them into a frenzy, you know, because encores ain't bad, and therefore, you know, if they can get to the end of this back 40, the CD, and they want to listen to the rest of it, they'll have to go back up to the top again. And if that's the feeling they've got, then that'll be great. I had the opportunity to write this with Jerry Salley. Jerry and Melissa Pierce had written Dirt Road's Heartache that done really, really well for us at Bluegrass Radio, and they were good to us to play it, and it was just one of those kind of tunes that, you know, that would really thump. You know, it was one of those kind of things when you do it live, people like it because there's a lot of energy in it. And therefore, that's really, while I'm trying to write it, that's really what we were trying to get out of this one. Chris Wade and Tim Crouch done an absolutely killer job with the fiddle and the banjo. It is one of those kind of tunes that you'd want to end the show with because it's one of those kind of tunes that hopefully by that time, if you've entertained them right, you've got them right where you want them. Well, hopefully for the last little bit, you've got little snippets of stories behind the stories, but one I didn't share was because of the instrumentation may have been a little bit different, and the reason why is because Daniel Grindstaff came in and took over Chris Wade's place in the recording. Chris got to record 4 of the tunes with us, and then after that, being diagnosed with osteocarcinoma, had treatments, and therefore it took him away from being able to finish the record on the deadline that we were under. Daniel done a great job, but old Swade's back out on the road with us, and he's doing good. He's in fact, I think he's more full of life now than he ever has been. Rural Rhythm made this possible for us to be able to do it. Lewell Molen at Mojo Studios, along with his son Josh, made this possible. Wishbone Studios in Muscle Shoals, where in fact Mike McGuire, the drummer with the group Shenandoah, did the vocals for Tim and I as we sang the vocals. Therefore, that's a bit of the 40-year history there as it goes along. The musicians that played on it, Aaron Ramsey played absolutely exceptional, as he always does on the upright bass. John Bradley did the same on the bass. Zach Rambo played terrific mandolin, a great player, great guy. Tim Crouch, I mean, you know, what else do you say about Tim Crouch other than perfect, Mr. First Take. And he does an absolutely wonderful job, not just on one, but on 2. And he does an absolutely great job through the whole project. Scott Napier came in and played a little bit of the mandolin on some fairly intricate things that happened. My brother Tim and I played some acoustic guitar along with Lewell Molen that played a little bit for us in places while we could sing. And Matt Leadbetter played Dobro. It was just it was literally a labor of love, but it would have not been possible if it had not been for the fans, for you folks. If it hadn't have been for y'all, it literally would be a lost cause. There'd be no sense in us doing what we do if it wasn't for you. Whether if you just look at this and try to figure out whether you want to buy it or whether you don't, and you never buy it, I certainly wouldn't want to go away and this machine of yours be turned off and me not be able to say thank you for coming to the shows and being a fan.